Okay, so thank you very much for coming on board and participating in our professional development day. We have most of the bugs ironed out from this morning, but please be patient with us if anything should crop up. Just a few notes. If in the event you have any questions, please use the chat or raise your hand and we'll try to get back to you. If any questions come up, please try to speak clearly and you're encouraged to use the camera as well. I'd like to turn the floor over at this time, at the very beginning, to Lieutenant Colonel Jen Kennedy, Deputy Wing Commander, who is going to address the group. Colonel Kennedy.
I guess good afternoon, Todd. Thank you. It's my pleasure, and the Chief is here with me as well. I'll show you the camera in a second. Thank you for allowing us to join your PD session. We just wanted to take a few minutes just to congratulate you guys on a great year, another great year. It's been a different year this year with COVID, with all the challenges. Working from home can sometimes be, we can think it can be easy, but there's also additional challenges that come with that. So we just want to take a few minutes just to say thank you for everything that you've done this year, be that from the health promotion side with all the courses that you've run and getting those back up and going, to the PSP, trying to figure out how to run the gym again, and dealing with all the issues, all the procurement that you've done throughout the year, more recently. For the cleaners and the housekeeping staff, wow, you guys have done like above and beyond this year, making sure that we were able to run the QFACs and keep accommodations going, and just being flexible with all of the different changes in policies. And as we learned about COVID, it's your patience and has allowed us to continue to support the wing, and we're very appreciative of that. The mess staff, the entire wing, thanks you for the innovative ideas you guys have come up with making it a safe place for people to go and socialize. For those that were locked down in accommodations, having that mess atmosphere to kind of get a break has helped their mental health tremendously. So what you guys do has an impact on all the members across the wing, and we recognize that, and we just want to take the time to thank you for that. And after that, I also want to make sure that you guys take the time to relax over the Christmas holidays, take a break, a well-deserved break, recharge. Hopefully you're able to get to see your families over Christmas, but if not, hopefully soon in the new year. We're hoping 2021 will be a little bit easier on us. But again, thank you for everything that you've done this year. I'm just going to pass it over to the Chief.
How's everyone doing? Hope you're all healthy. The boss said it all. COVID's throwing a lot of crap at us this year, but you guys have done an outstanding job. For the most part, you're probably, you may have a thankless job, or I can tell you for sure that your efforts are definitely noted by both myself, the CEO, and all the members of the wing. So thank you for that. Have a great holiday when you get to it, and stay safe and healthy. And if you drink, don't drive.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Colonel and Chief. Any questions for the senior leadership before they depart and get back to their day? No, and they love the bike.
I'm just going to get out on it again. All right, thanks. Enjoy your afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so in keeping with the agenda, the next thing I'd like to do is provide you with some updates as to where we are with our awards and recognition. So at this point, I'm going to start. I'll talk about some long service awards, some background. So as of 1 January 2012, the staff of the non-public fund officially started recognizing its employees for 5 years of service, and then increments of 5 years of service after that. So the 5 years of service are offered as commemorative memento as well as a certificate, and then every subsequent 5 years from that moment on. In reverse order, I'm assuming I have my paperwork right. I can't see the slides in front of me, but we'll start off with the 15 years of service and 15 years. Oh, so sorry, we'll go with 15. Okay. Tammy Johnson for 15, Lisa Rafasi, Diane Hare, Amy Dawson, Carol Roy, and Kelly Young as well. For 10 years of service, Melissa Gallant, Cindy Trump, Troy Brown, Anne-Marie Lamoth, and Kellyanne Fisher. Also in the 10 years, Tyler Vivian and Bradford Cook. For 5 years of service, we have Stephen Thompson, Taylor Cole, Tyler Williams, Mary Lou Ostrowski, Michael Boyer, Cassandra Featherstone, Amy Mills, and Andrew Carrick. In addition to the 5 years of service, I'd also like to take the opportunity to mention Mr. Eric Forbes has completed the category, the Cat 2 training as well. So as outstanding for Mr. Forbes for that. And this morning, it was my pleasure as well to announce the latest staff and non-public fund recognition for the Employee of the Quarter was presented to Mr. Eric Forbes as well. So I'll take this opportunity at the same time to read the citation that Eric was presented about it. So Mr. Forbes, your outstanding professional effort in providing outstanding services is hereby recognized. In addition to providing a high level of customer service, Eric has maintained a high degree of operational effectiveness by delivering projects on time and continually meeting tight deadlines. During these extraordinary times, Eric has embraced excellence in customer service in his day-to-day work and worked diligently to complete tasks and consistently exceed expectations. Eric has provided outstanding support to the non-public fund accounting operations at 8 Wing CFP Trenton and has engaged and responded to requests in a timely fashion and identified and created solutions to complex problems that required in-depth research and interpretation. During this past quarter, Eric has rose to the challenge and has surpassed all reasonable expectations for his position. Mr. Forbes, you have demonstrated outstanding teamwork, leadership, professionalism, and dedication, and is most deserving of this recognition and distinction. So again, thank you very much, Eric, for your fine work and efforts in this. I would like to take this opportunity at this time to encourage managers, supervisors at all levels, as well as any employee who feels that a peer, co-worker, or anyone that's performed in such a manner that would warrant such recognition to come forth and provide us, make a submission. As well, I'd like to reintroduce the Leader of the Pack Award. It was a small gesture or momentum that we had. For those of you that were around in the last Professional Development Day, you'll probably remember it. It was a small certificate and a large beer stein with a plaque that indicated the Leader of the Pack Award on it, and it was presented to employees on a monthly basis with nominations coming from anyone. All you require was really a 1 or 2 liner, and that award is presented to people on a monthly basis. And I feel it's long overdue that we bring this distinction back into the organization. So effective early in the new year, if anyone has any submissions or anything, then I would recommend that they submit them at that time. Any other questions with regards to the awards and recognition?
I just wanted to mention that Samir Kumar here in Human Resources has completed his CHRP, which is Certified Human Resource Practitioner designation, which is a pretty high designation within Human Resources. And he's also written and successfully passed the law exam. So really proud of him over here.
Great, thank you very much. Having done the awards, it's been a long time since we've met. So I'm going to call on some of the managers at this time just to introduce some new staff that have been to the organization and discuss some people who may have departed. So I'll try to keep the same order as what I did this morning. With that, I'll call on Kendra.
Great, thanks. Jackie, can I ask you? Oh, you're on it. Thanks, Jackie. Awesome. So we've had quite a number of new faces join our team. We're super excited to welcome the following members to our team. We had William West Rockburn. You can call him West. He's a Loyalist grad, and he actually did 2 of his placements with us, so we've known him for quite a few years. After graduating, he took a fitness sports instructor position out west, gained a ton of experience and skills and knowledge, and moved back to our area. So we're super excited to have him recently join us down at Fitness and Sports at CFB Trenton, and he's off to a great start. We also hired Marcus Sager, who came to us from the Niagara region as a fitness and sports instructor. He brings a strong educational background as well as a clinical background to the team, so offering us lots of great insight to augment some new areas within our team. We also hired Casey Andrews as a fitness and sports instructor. She comes to us from Brockville area, studied just down the road in Oshawa. Brings a fun and dynamic teaching approach to military fitness. As well, from a facility department, we hired Melissa, which most of you already know. She has a ton of PSP corporate knowledge as she comes to us from the messes, where she's maintained many positions as well as a deployment. She brings a strong background in asset management and facility oversight, as well as a great work ethic. So these new additions to our team have been great for morale in a year that we could all use a morale boost. They arrive every day with a smile on their face and a drive to thrive, which is super exciting. So welcome to the PSP team, and thank you for your contributions thus far. I wanted to take a moment to just recognize Carolyn Vivian. So she was our sports coordinator for quite a few years, 4 years, I believe. And she recently took the position of military fitness coordinator, and she's been managing that for the past 2 months, leading the team during our super high operational tempo. As we've been managing the rollout of annual force evaluations and the ever-changing SOPs as it relates to public health measures. Carolyn has recently accepted a promotion within the organization, and I'd just like to take this moment to thank her for all of her contributions to PSP Fitness and Sports, and let her know that we're sending her off with our best wishes and confidence that she will bring great value to her new team. We had a couple of departures as well over the last few months. So Rachel Bertram was our fitness, sports, and rec coordinator. You all may be familiar with her. For those of us that have been around for the last little while, she's often presented in these forums. So she's taken on some new endeavors out in the corporate world and is off to a great start. Andrew Burley, who is a longtime 20-year employee with our organization, he retired and he moved out east to take on some new adventures. Brittany Denning and Anne-Marie Lamoth. I just wanted to pass on a big congratulations to them. They're both off. They went off this fall on parental leave, and they're both enjoying their new family of 4. So congrats to them if you see them out and about. Awesome. Perfect. So sorry. Jeez. Delivery. Alrighty, the joys of working from home, which I never get to do. Shelby.
I can't stop laughing.
You made the blooper reel there, Kendra.
Hi. Kendra. Thanks. Okay. I never, ever work from home. So this is awesome. That was so much fun. Apologies. I have one last announcement. This is Shelby, everyone. I just wanted to congratulate Heather Ripley. So she's taken on the fitness and facility coordinator position with CJIRU. She's getting a ton of corporate knowledge and just really thriving over there. We still get to see her from time to time when she's down here doing evaluations. So I'm going to sign off now after that. Super awesome. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, Kendra, and thanks, Shelby, for the introduction and icebreaker. Lisa, do you want to come on next?
Sure thing. Okay, a couple new changes to the health promotion team. Sorry, I've just done something on my screen. There we go. The first thing is that we have Joanne Lamoureux, who joined us on a temporary backfill. And most of you know Jo from the Messes. We stole her from the Messes temporarily. And we've actually known that prior to that, she was with accommodations. So we're very grateful to have Jo within our HP team as our administrator. For many of you who know the HPA role, they're the glue to our team. So she's keeping us all together and in sync and communicating and scheduling and working really hard to make sure that we have what we need in this time. For example, Baker Island is our new classroom. So many thanks to Jo, and we're glad to have you. We are missing Krista, who, as everybody knows, we lost to accommodations, as she is also backfilling. So we wish you all the best over at accommodations. And then thirdly, we have a new health promotion specialist beginning with us in January. And we're very excited to announce that Caroline Vivian has successfully been added to our health promotion team. She brings over a decade of PSP experience, not only in fitness and sports, but lots of other professional experience that I'm sure she'll lend to our portfolio. We're very excited that she will round out our health promotion team, which otherwise we call the Dream Team. So welcome to Caro in January. Thank you for Jo coming over to health promotion, and you're welcome for Krista over at accommodations, because we're all doing the shuffle to make sure that all of our positions are filled with great people, internals. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Paul, can I ask you to come on?
Sure thing, boss. So in the Messes, we've lost 2 of our staff that are helping out in new areas. So of course, Joanne Lamoureux is working in health promotion right now. We miss her over at the Messes. Our loss, health promotion gain. And another gain for our organization is the fitness and sports section has got Melissa Sabowski over there working. So Melissa is a great employee within our organization. She had her normal position as a head bartender, and last year we had Diane Hare go to alert. And when Diane Hare was in alert, Melissa backfilled her position as the assistant mess manager. And she did so during the summertime when we were in the middle of a pandemic. And we had a very successful summer in the mess operations, largely due to the work and the efforts that Melissa put in. So thank you very much, Melissa. Definitely missed at the Messes. So Diane Hare is back in the mess operation now, and her replacement up in alert is Sharon Grummett. Sharon started last month, and she's been up there, and she'll remain there until February. And then we'll be looking for a new person to go to alert if anybody's interested. Applications are being accepted now. And I also want to welcome Miranda McLeod to our organization. She came to us from Borden. She's our mess clerk over in the officers' mess. Been a great addition. There's lots of things going on in the mess right now, and she's very busy keeping all the different events organized. And over the last couple of days, the girls are in the middle of doing a takeout wine and cheese order. And Miranda's the person collecting all the data and making sure everybody gets the right orders that they're requesting. So thank you, Miranda, for joining our team. And that's it from the Messes. Back to you, big guy.
Paul. Kate, has there been any changes on your side of the house?
Yeah, so actually we're probably missing some familiar faces because our programs are still paused right now, but we have added some new faces to the front desk at the facilities. So you'll see Selena Azugi, Kelsey Lawrence, and Amanda McCracken have been added at the desk. And we have to give a special farewell to Amy Dirks, who has filled many roles within our recreation section over the past 2 years, and she's off to join the Navy, and she starts her basic training in January. So if you see her, give her a fond farewell. That's it for us.
Thank you very much, Kate. Troy, I believe there's been some changes in your side of the house as well.
Yes, sorry about that. Okay. from CISA Financial. We were sad to say goodbye to France Desermeaux, who, she was with us for, I believe, goodness, over 13 years with CISA, and was our admin assistant. So she went on to retirement, and so that caused an opening in our office for a new admin assistant. So we are happy to welcome Alexandra Meyer as our new admin assistant at CISA. And she began her career back in 2015 with the CFMWS as community rec supervisor for PSP. And she had also been promoted in 2018 as the assistant mess manager there in Wainwright, Alberta. So she moved here with her husband, who is a military member, being posted here. So she came to Trenton, which was an opportunity for us. So we're glad that she was able to join our team here as the admin assistant. We also hired another financial planner, and his name is Michael Rubenovich. He comes to us from Manulife Securities is where he started, and then he was with some banking firms as well for a number of years. He now is working for CISA, but he is still located in Mississauga, but he is moving to the Trenton area sometime when things settle down as far as being able to move during this pandemic. The good thing is everything we've been able to do online, so that's working out well for Michael, but he'll be coming here with his partner, Errata, if I'm saying that right, as soon as he possibly can, as our financial planner here, along with Tim LaFontaine, who is in the middle of transferring to Ottawa. So we got a lot of things, a lot of moving parts happening. We do have also a new insurance representative, investment advisor, Ashley Porlier. She's been in the insurance side of the house for a number of years, working for a local brokerage in Belleville, and she started with us as well, actually October. So she's on the call, and I think she'll be saying a few words today, but we're glad to have Ashley on board as well. So that's where we are today. And we're still going strong here at CISA.
Thank you very much, Troy. From a senior staff, one person who's not here with us right now is Ms. Jen Cote, the staff at a non-public fund county manager. So Jen is with her family in Winnipeg right now due to a posting during his last APS, as well as Leah, unfortunately, can't join us either. And last but not least, I'll ask Bonnie to come on board. Bonnie is filling in for Deb Taylor, who was away on an extended period of absence. Bonnie, just like to tell the group a little bit about yourself.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. I have been here since the beginning of COVID. So COVID hit. I think I was in the office for 3 days and then I was sent home. So it was definitely a unique start to working with the CFMWS. And prior to this, I came from addictions and mental health, as well as the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board, in both cases working in human resources. I can tell you it's been amazing to work here and meet everybody, and I'm having a great time. So thank you all for all of your support.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. So that concludes the introduction of some of the new staff that came in. I'm going to try this time to keep with the agenda. I needed to be corrected a lot for those of you who may have been around on the morning. At this point, I'm just going to give a couple of updates as to where we are with some things. And before I turn it over to the staff, I'm just going to talk about some expectations moving forward as we move through with COVID. Some of you may have seen or noticed in the communique sent out by the CEO, Mr. Sean Cantillon, on November the 30th, he made reference to a course or a training requirement titled Fundamentals of a Respectful Workplace Training. He indicated that the training was to be conducted by all and completed by the 31st of March. So there's two methods as to how we're going to be delivering this training. Number one, there's an opportunity for us to deliver it virtually and online like this. But most important, the method that I think we're going to try to go with is an in-house presence. So the managers will be delivering that. The training was meant primarily to raise awareness of our organizational values and build on an understanding of the fundamentals required for a respectful workplace, and to give everyone the tools and address disrespectful behaviors in the workplace. And it's for that reason that I feel at this time that this type of training is best delivered in person and to have a more of a communication flow back and forth between everyone. So it is not a DLN course, so you will not find this course under DLN. And as I discussed earlier on, it's going to be facilitated by your managers and supervisors. So when ready, your managers and supervisors are going to conduct a day. And based upon where we are with the COVID restrictions, it's probably going to be conducted over multiple periods of time. So your managers are going to be doing their own training in preparation for it by listening to the CEO's messaging, his video, and familiarizing themselves with the content of it. In preparation, I'll ask everyone else, and it'll be distributed at a later time, for your guide as to how best you can prepare for it. So what will be distributed is there's 4 questions that people are going to, that they'll be asked to review and consider and make notes over prior to the discussion. So some of the things during the one-to-one sessions that are going to be discussed is we'll ask you, how do you demonstrate through your behaviors and actions the values in my day-to-day work? So we care in our team. So that'll be a topic of discussion. Another one will be a personal reflection as to which of the values that you would like to apply more in your day-to-day work, and which behaviors or actions you feel will be demonstrated the values in your day-to-day work as well. So again, you can have an idea of where these conversations are going to go and some of the discussions that come out from it. There'll also be a team reflection portion of which of these values would you like to see strengthened in your team, and what behaviors or actions can help strengthen the value of your team. So I'll be very interested in getting your feedback and information as to how you feel it should go, what your expectations are, and how you feel we can make ourselves a more effective team. It's kind of a follow-on to when we had the Communication and Collaboration Committee stood up a couple of years back. And in hindsight, I think that there's value added to that. Unfortunately, we can't get together and have those discussions as we did in the past. But rest assured that as soon as the COVID restrictions are lifted and we're able to have those meetings again, that I'm looking at resuming them in the near future. So that's where we are with the CEO's training. Is there any question on that as to where we're going to take it? No? Okay. Stand by. Okay. Another part that I'd like to talk about is PP&E. So at this time, when we started down the road with the COVID restrictions and Op Laser was initially stood up, there was a bit of a lapse and a gap between from the time we first identified a requirement for PP&E and when we received it. Shortly thereafter, within the 30 days following the stand-up of the Op Laser cell, we received a significant amount of sanitizer, shields, screens, etc., that helped us in our day-to-day work. I have not seen a huge increase in the amount of requirement for it. So as our numbers in the local area are going higher, and there's more and more requirement from industry to rely on it, I'd ask every one of you to look within your own respective AORs and look at what PP&E is available to you. And if you see a requirement for it, if there's some shortfalls, please bring it to our attention and we can make sure that we can acquire the stores necessary to make sure that you're safe in what you're doing. In minds with the PP&E, the military leadership have identified a requirement or a desire to go with 3-layer masks They're in the process at this time of acquiring them, and as soon as that they're available, that we'll make sure that they're dispersed out as well. In addition to the PP&E with regards to COVID, we are coming on to the cold weather season of the year. And I'd ask you all to look at your SNCC requirements, what you have around you for salt, crimp-ons, shovels, etc., and bring that to the attention of your immediate supervisor or your local health and safety rep as well. So we want to make sure that everybody's working safe, operating safe, and that we're giving you the necessary tools that you have at your disposal to do the job that you need to do in a safe and secure manner. So please keep an eye on that. Safety is everybody's responsibility. Finally, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the expectations are moving forward. A lot of people are concerned with the new raise in the number of infections and cases in the area. Are we going to go back to a complete lockdown again? A lot of that is we have to comply with both provincial and the requirements in the military. So there's not much discretion for us at this time. So what's our expectations in the senior leadership at this time moving forward? So we're going to continue to expand our presence in the workplace while being cognizant of the restrictions and ensuring that the safety and well-being of our staff and clients is our primary concern. We're going to adapt our delivery of programs and services in unison with the client demands and our capabilities. And by that, I mean that we're going to increase our service delivery when demand increases and decrease it as a threat diminishes. So how can I break this down a little bit simpler? So I guess there's not a requirement to have people in the workplace for the sake of having people in the workplace. When it's safe to do so, we will reduce our staff based on requirements, and also we'll increase our services as military demand increases as well. So in some cases, like health promotion, for example, over the last have been very actively involved in delivering programs to within unit lines, as well as utilizing Baker's Island because it's a better facility than our current classroom to accommodate social distancing. But should our numbers increase and the demand from the military decrease, then at the same time, we're going to decrease our presence in the workplace. It's no one's intent to have people in just because I don't want to be alone or no one wants to be alone in the workplace. We all have a job to do, and we're going to be doing that job in direct relation to our demand and as the threat. So we're going to continue to look at innovative ways to meet client expectations through virtual and remote means. Many of you have been very successful in delivering programs virtually, online. We found Fitness and Sports delivered many classes to our clients virtually. The weather isn't the greatest, however, we can still do that through various means as well. And the department is looking at acquiring new assets to do that. So I anticipate GoPros to be arriving soon. We just recently acquired some camcorders, some new lighting equipment and tripod. So we'll be able to deliver programs in different methods, be better equipped to do so in the near future. This platform right now is an example of where we've increased our capability. So we now have CFMWS computers in more prevalence across the wing, and we're able to deliver programs virtually through Teams, Vimeo, etc. So we're doing things in a more alternative way, but in a safe manner. As response to the pandemic prolongs and fatigue and frustration sets in, now more than ever, we need to function and operate as a team. Response to the pandemic has taken its toll both on the department from both a mental and financial aspect, and now is not the time for us as a team to be lackadaisical in our delivery of services. We must keep our mission and vision in the forefront and not lose sight of our purpose of our jobs and the vital contribution that you each make to the military community. As much as they rely on us for our services, we too rely on them for our livelihood. This relationship must be respected and maintained at all costs, and we cannot continue to function without the dedication and commitment from all of you involved. If you are not working at 100% of your capacity, I'll challenge each and every one of you to come up with innovative ways to increase your output and explore alternative services that can be delivered. Our future over the next period is what we make of it. Challenge yourselves and your peers to continue to provide a level of service that is valued and needed. Ask yourself on a daily basis, have I made an honest contribution to my team today? If not, make a commitment to change and have a positive impact. Like a chain, we are only as strong as our weakest link, and look out after ourselves. Your peers, your family, be proud of what you do and what you contribute to the organization. You've all done a fantastic job to date, and now is not the time for us to lie on our laurels. It's going to get a little bit worse, I think, before it gets better. And it's time for us to dig in and really rely on each other as a team. If myself or any one of the senior managers can provide any additional support or provide you with the assets you need to increase your capabilities or deliveries, feel free to bring them forward. We have a huge network of peers to rely on, and I challenge you to come forward with those ideas. Any other questions before I turn over the floor to the rest of the schedule? No, okay, and just one other note: the SNCC line is 7642, so that's 392-2811-7642, and we'll follow up with these notes post the PD day, and there'll be an email going out to all the staff. Again, thank you very much, and I'll join you later on. I'll turn the floor right now at this time over to Paul. Paul?
Hey, everybody. So Todd was a little bit more serious. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. I'm just looking to get in our little chat bar over on the side, if you want to put in your favorite Christmas movie. So I'll throw the question up there. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Mine is Frosty the Snowman, a little bit lighthearted, just a cartoon version. Been watching it since I was about 2, and I still enjoy it every year at Christmas time. Love Actually, The Holiday, Elf, Die Hard, It's a Beautiful Life, Elf, love The Holiday. Gremlins again from Todd, he loves his Gremlins. Christmas Vacation, 34th Street, Holiday Inn. The Grinch. Joanne, I love The Grinch as well. Christmas Carol. Yeah, that's a good one. A little spooky for me, but still a good one. National Lampoons, definitely. The Santa Claus, yep, another good one. Elf, I think the Elf is our majority leader from everybody here. All Hallmark movies. Oh, Hallmark. Any Hallmark movie that you want to watch? Christmas Chronicles, Jingle All the Way. Yes, the Hallmark. All the ladies love the Hallmark movies, don't they? Ernest Christmas Show, yes. Thank you very much, everybody, for putting the information in. I think I might have to go watch the Elf when I get home. And maybe the Grinch. And maybe a Christmas Carol as well. A couple of extras. Thank you, guys. Over to you again, boss.
Thank you very much. I'm going to turn the floor over at this time to Lisa.
Okay, just as I'm getting my screen set up here. If you can bear with me for 1 second. There's a couple steps I have to go through. I think I'm good. Okay. All right, so today we are going to talk about mental health, and I hope to keep it a bit light, and I hope we can use the chat room. So if you have any comments to add as I prompt you for a couple different questions coming up, please feel free to share, just like you did for your favorite movies, etc. So without further ado, goals of today's brief, we're going to be reminded of the benefits of a healthy lifestyle and how all of those things on your slide, by the way, can you see them with the slide deck? Can I get a thumbs up? Did it work?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. We're going to take inventory on what we are currently doing for our mental health. We're going to reflect on some changes that we might be able to make during this time. And by this time, I mean what we're dealing with COVID, but also as we enter into the holiday season. And then the last point is to take charge and to take a really good look at our mental health. In the classroom, we are often reminded that a lot of our participants will say, the minute this question comes up, you know, what are you doing for your mental health? So many people say, well, I don't have to think about it. You know, as long as I'm getting my workouts in, I'm good. And then we have other people that say, oh, no, absolutely. Every day I do the following for my mental health. So could I have you share in the chat, is there anybody that purposely does something, and if so, what it is for their mental health? So if you could use the chat, that would be awesome. What are you currently doing? Are you doing anything on purpose? Or even if you're one of those people that don't have to worry about their mental health. So talking to our kids, walking, going to the gym, baking cookies, laughing, walking around the block. That's awesome. Music, hugs, find 5 positives in the day. That's a good one. Crying in the shower. That's a good one. Walking the dog. Thank you for sharing. So I'm glad to see that people are purposely doing things for their mental health. And I think in our portfolio anyway, we are starting to really recognize the parallel between our physical health and our mental health, but also the importance of both of them. Often you will hear people sort of brag or talk or communicate about their workouts. You know, I went to the gym and this is the workout, or I had a great run today. We would hope that that is the same sentiment that people take towards their mental health, that that's something we talk about with our colleagues, our peers, our family, and that it becomes as normal as it is to talk about the workout you had, the physical workout. We also know how much these two entities, they lean on each other and have a role for each other. So as the slide mentions, we want to get to that point where we compare it to our physical health or our financial health. A couple definitions. When we look at the concept of mental health, we could also interchange all sorts of words such as mental fitness or wellness. We're really talking about a person's condition with regards to their psychological and emotional well-being or a state of well-being. And then the last point on this slide talks about or gives you a common sentiment that reads, all this COVID stuff seems to be affecting my mental health. Everywhere we look right now, we are seeing some of this concern creep into what otherwise is what we would consider our wellness. So being very mindful that it's real, that if we are feeling that this COVID, this global pandemic is impacting how we feel, that we're in good company, and then thus giving us a great opportunity to reflect and be refreshed on some of the concepts we'll talk about in the next 10-15 minutes. So I encourage you to sit back and consider your mental health. But also I do recognize that some of this is a review. So this is just an opportunity for maybe a refresh. This next slide you'll see in most of our courses, and this is the mental health continuum model. It conceptualizes our mental fitness from the green, healthy, to the red, ill. And you're going to see that there's an arrow that goes in 2 directions. That's really important to note. So for example, today I might be feeling pretty good in the green mentally, and I would consider to be feeling healthy, but anything could happen that may take me to reacting or maybe even injured. So if again, we could use the chat, would you mind sharing with me an example of something that takes you from the healthy to maybe into one of those other sections of the mental fitness continuum model? Anybody? A call from home, absolutely. Call from your child's school. A separation, absolutely. Food, for sure. Anything else? You're having a great day and something happens and all of a sudden you are potentially in a reacting. An illness, a family member's illness, a sales call. Yeah, for sure. How about a Tim Hortons drive-through that doesn't go well? You get into it and you realize you don't have your bank card or money and you can't jump the curb, and now you're in the reacting. So also somebody added job loss, rude people, for sure. Lots of great examples of things that take us out of the healthy. Now, it's also important to note, it's coming up on the next slide, I think, but it's also important to note that this is not a static state that we're in. We may be having a great day, but we also might be having a reacting day or a reacting week, or maybe a month, or maybe looking back to 2020, we might all feel that from a mental health perspective that we were always in the yellow because of COVID-19. And you'll notice, I just leave it to you to take a look at what the slide reads, but you'll notice all of the symptoms of those particular categories. And maybe recognizing where you might be and where you want to be. So if you are reacting, what are your resources? What are the tools you're going to use to get yourself back to maybe healthy? Okay, the next slide just reminds us that it's important to know when you're stressed. So again, if you're willing, can you share with the group, how do you know that you're stressed? What is a signal that tells you, uh-oh, I better deploy some mental fitness exercises, or I better, as some of the people mentioned, I maybe put on some music. What are some of the things that people do? Or sorry, what are some of the things that signal to you that you are stressed? And if you would, okay, good, I cry more, or I have no energy. So absolutely, those are really popular. You become snappy, a loss of appetite. So great signals that you are stressed. What do you do if you have a bad day? So let's say it's Wednesday of several weeks ago, and it was the worst Wednesday ever. What do you do as you leave work and get home? And I'm going to assume that your work day may have been part of the problem in this case, for this example. What would that look like for you? What do you do if you've had a bad day? Do you talk it out? Okay, Melissa mentioned that she goes for a walk. Joanne and the accommodations crew turn up the music. Talk to my mother. Oh, good answer. Lots of great examples of people realizing that it's important that we shouldn't sit with those bad day feelings. That when we're looking at the benefits of taking some time for our mental health, we also have to recognize that leaving a bad day as a bad day may encroach on to the next day and the day after. And then this slide reminds us that you might have reacting days, injured days, weeks, months. It's not ever going to always stay the same. There may have been a time in your life where you really felt that you were in the green often, and that yes, certain things would happen to cause you to react. And then as you age, or maybe as your life changes, not necessarily with age, but as different things are introduced, now you may have more of a shift that you weren't otherwise accustomed to. So hopefully we start to talk about mental health and wellness very naturally and without stigma, that it is something that we're okay talking about, as mentioned, just like the workout. So the Government of Canada and Health Canada have given us lots of suggestions for taking care of your mental health. And certainly in our social wellness portfolio and health promotion, we also have a lot of useful resources, tools, and suggestions, which we'll get to in a bit. But really important to recognize that life is challenging. And if there was ever a time to recognize that, that's now. Know and accept your strengths, weaknesses, set realistic goals for yourself, try to accept yourself and others, learn to recognize and understand that you have positive and negative feelings, create a sense of meaning in your life. So learning a new activity or a hobby, a group or a committee, maybe volunteering. What a great time of year with the Adopted Child Program and all the many community outreach opportunities. There is that ability to have a sense of meaning in your life, and that certainly can help, as our governing body reminds us, to take care of your mental health. Create healthy and trusting relationships with people who accept you and support you. Lots of ways to take care of your mental health. Next slide reminds us that there's all sorts of choices that we make every single day about our life that also can have an impact, positive or negative, on our overall wellness, on our overall mental fitness or mental health. And this slide just lets us know, reminds us what they are. Again, for so many of us, we've seen this. I know that my colleagues are on with me right now and they're probably seeing this for the 150th time. However, there's never a better opportunity than where we're headed into the holiday season to just take a look at those lifestyle choice stressors. So the slide says it all: caffeine, insufficient sleep, poor nutrition, tobacco, drugs, alcohol, maybe not a work-life balance that's working for you, maybe your exercise, maybe not enough, maybe too much, maybe some long work hours, financial problems. Maybe it's the whole social isolation as a result of COVID-19, or maybe it's in fact the difference between the distancing socially and physically. So there's lots of choices that we make every day that could positively or negatively impact our mental health. The first one we're going to just quickly skim through in the interest of time is the physical activity guidelines that's provided to us by our governing bodies. So you'll notice this one comes to us from the Canadian Society of Exercise, PHYS, and actually most recently in the last couple weeks, they published even newer guidelines that reminds us that it's not just about our workouts, our required 30 minutes a day on at least 5 days a week, but it's also what we do within a whole 24-hour movement guideline period. And that includes your sleep, your sedentary time. So you can actually be a very active, athletic couch potato. You could be very purposeful in your workouts, but in fact, the rest of the time you become sedentary. So it's important to look at the whole 24-hour picture, and physical activity is certainly one of those lifestyle choices that can impact our mental health. Some really good news, though, that when we incorporate physical activity into our week, it can be a lifesaver. It is medicine. Exercise is known as medicine, and so many of the positive benefits can impact so many of the diseases that plague Canadians. For example, if you're physically fit, you have a smaller stress response. You cope better with things. You report lower stress, and there's all those correlations to health benefits. Fitness, exercise, active living, whatever it is that you're currently doing, that can happen anywhere. And I know right now we're challenged with our gym closures and recreation programs not happening and all of the things that typically we're used to being involved with not there. So this is an opportunity for us to be creative and come up with something that does work or could work for us. We don't need the gym, we just need the personal power to find a way to be physically fit. So I would encourage you at this time, for the mental health of it, to take inventory of what you're doing for your physical activity. And you don't have to do all of our components of fitness, but you can certainly take a look at some of the things that in fact might need some tweaking or revisit that you could benefit from. Is there anybody wanting to share on currently what they are doing, but an area that they think they could do more from that physical activity portfolio? Anybody want to share something you are doing for your physical activity, but an area of that component that you might need to put some energy towards? So anybody doing lots of cardio, but they're forgetting about their stretching? Anybody doing tons of strength training, but they hate cardio? I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but that could mean that my chat's not working. Anyone? Okay. Well, we'll keep going. Oh, perfect. So walking every night, but should add in stretching. Thank you, Melissa. So we often see that sometimes people say, no, I've got this lifestyle choice in check. But the reality is within that choice, there are things that we could look at. Okay, the next lifestyle choice, considering that we've all got the physical activity one under wraps, is sleep. Definitely something that some of us don't have to work on, that we're getting good night's sleep. But boy, oh boy, if stress is a factor, let's say there's something going on in our life, this might be one of those things that slides first, and now it's going to really have the potential to impact your mental health. The slide also talks about a whole bunch of concepts or terms like grinding your teeth and sleep apnea and circadian rhythms. In our sleep briefs that are much longer than 10, 15 minutes, we tend to get into that, but certainly recognizing how important sleep is. And that's easier said than done. Some people will suffer through this lifestyle choice and making sure that they get enough sleep, and it doesn't matter what they do, they're still not getting that quality sleep. So recognizing that some of us take it for granted and others have to truly work on this factor. So some stats or some symptoms of poor sleep and work. So we react slower, decreased productivity, a lack of focus. We're not as innovative. We become more stressed easily. Maybe we behave unethically. We don't enjoy our job as much. So really impactful. How much do we need? We need, and this is from all the governing bodies on sleep, and in health promotion, we're always sitting in on teleconferences with subject matter experts on this topic. But adults need 7 to 9 hours a night, teens up to 12 hours, and kids 10 to 12. We were talking at lunchtime, and Paul, I'm going to use you as an example. He was saying he's getting lots of sleep. He's getting 4 to 6 hours a night. So if you wouldn't mind using the chat, will you share what you think you're getting? And then after you give me an hour and you let the group know your hour, can you say enough or not enough? So how many hours a night are you getting? 7 hours, not enough. Okay, good. Thank you. 4 to 6, and it's okay from accommodations. Troy's getting 7.5 hours, and that's working well. Cindy's getting 6, that's not enough. 8 hours, Jackie, perfect. Yeah, and Paul is suggesting that 4 to 6 hours is double from when he was in his 20s. You're not in your 20s anymore, Paul. 8, and it's okay. Perfect. 4 hours, then up for an hour, and then 3 after that. Wow. So you'll notice the differences from person to person, and recognizing that some people don't have to work on this lifestyle choice, that it's good, and others of us do have to pay special attention to it. Benefits of sleep, more of them right there listed on the slide. I'm not going to spend too much time there. We know the negative pitfalls of screens and sleep hygiene. We know about the bright light and what that does and how it can impact negatively our sleep onset. So just a quick reminder on that. Stress and sleep, unfortunately, it's like it's this vicious cycle that if we don't get enough sleep, it actually elicits the stress response. And then the stress response could impact how much sleep we're getting. And then you throw in other things like caffeine and poor nutrition and lack of exercise, and now it's very much compounded. So recognizing that it's cyclical and it can really impact more than one of your lifestyle choices if you're not getting enough sleep. Our governing bodies in Ottawa are all about naps now, and suggesting in the sleep portfolio that we do encourage our military community to recognize how beneficial a short, quick nap that re-energizes, control-alt-deletes the brain, and restores you to a high-functioning energy level. Some tips for healthier sleep. You probably know a lot of these, but I'll let you read those for yourself. And then the next lifestyle choice is nutrition. So we know statistically that sound nutrition can absolutely support not only our physical health, but our mental health. And recognizing also that everybody is different from a nutrition perspective. So although we are absolutely advocates of Canada's Food Guide, we also recognize how important it is to interpret it based on the activities that you do throughout your day. So it is not meant to be a one size fits all. It is meant to be interpreted based on what you're currently doing. And there's lots of other tips there on that slide. The portion distortion is a big one. You know, lots of people will have, say, a bagel for breakfast and think that that's 2 servings of grain products and an actual 4 serving. So recognizing there is some disparity in what we think we're getting from a portion perspective and what we are getting from a serving perspective. Caffeine, as we link that into nutrition, it does become Thanks, Troy. I just saw your chat statement. You sleep well after turkey and dressing. Well, the good news is you've got some sleep ahead of you in the next couple weeks, so some good sleep. So if we continue on the nutrition concepts and we look at coffee and caffeine, we know that it's a performance enhancing fluid that in fact really helps us athletically. It helps us with our energy, our concentration, but we also know too much of a good thing in this case is too much. So recognizing what your personal sensitivity is to caffeine, as that can also impact your mental health. So that personal sensitivity piece, for example, I can have 2 cups of coffee. If I have a third one, just stay away. I am not in the green usually. I immediately start to have a bit of a stress response. And many of you know what your personal sensitivity is. Anybody want to share right now in the chat, what is your personal limit of how many units of caffeine you can have a day before you see the negative impact of caffeine? Anybody want to share that? What is your personal sensitivity? What's your max amount of coffee or caffeine units per day that you can have before you know you're going to feel a stress response? Anybody? Oh, okay. I can't even, is that Krista? I think it's Krista. I can't even have a small coffee. Brenda knows that she can only have 4 units. Shailene can have 5 cups. Wow, good for you. I don't drink. Okay, Melissa. Okay, so maybe Melissa doesn't drink coffee because she doesn't like it, or maybe because, and I'm not sure, you can drink tea all day. But some people also just don't react well to caffeine. So it's really important, more than anything, to know what your sensitivity is and what is too much for you, because that's that breaking point of now being a stress elicitor. Not a fan of coffee. Good. Well, that's awesome. I tried to not be a fan of coffee, but a university friend convinced me I wasn't allowed to leave her house one morning without trying one, and the rest is history. So caffeine and energy drinks, we need to also recognize those energy drinks as our caffeine source. So this slide just reminds us that there's some stress hormones that we need to be mindful of. And whenever we are unable to manage our stress and take control over our lifestyle choices, that in fact we have some negative impacts from the stress hormone perspective. Certainly right now, when we look at immune system, we want our immune system to be high fighting. So that is even more of a motivator to make sure we stay on top of our stressors, short-term and long-term stressors, and certainly try to manage our mental health on purpose. So the work-life balance piece here, the stat in the industry suggests that we're working 13 months instead of 12. So somehow in a calendar year that's only 12 months long, we have over the last 20 years added an extra month of work. So would you mind sharing how you transition, how you turn work off, whether that's your drive home, whether that's something you do on purpose to end your day? What is your mantra? What is your sort of go-to thought on getting the work-life balance, whether that be the transition from work to home or something that you do on purpose to put balance into your work day? If you wouldn't mind sharing, that would be awesome. I want to see what everybody's doing. Krista, where's the wine? It's awesome. Change clothes. You know what? We had a military member once that said when he went home at the end of every work day, I think Brenda, you and I were teaching the course, he purposely took note of actually changing his clothes out of his uniform, hanging that up, and putting on sort of his home clothes. And that was very purposeful, and it helped achieve the transition. So music, pups, I say that's a tomorrow problem. That's a good one. That's awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And Todd, you have to change your clothes. That's probably from your career in the CAF. And the 1-hour drive does it for Paul. So there's where a commute actually can be very beneficial. You can use that time to transition out of the workday. So on the work-life balance, we often talk about the day, but here's an opportunity to reflect on the balance that we can put into our holiday season. We've got some stat days coming up, and some of us have stockpiled some leave days. Is there a way into the end of this calendar year, and as we start next year, is there a way to make sure we take a purposeful break from work? And what are we going to do next year to maintain some balance in our workday so that that's not a stressor beyond all the other ones we're trying to manage? So where to begin with all of this? I was reminded years ago at a conference on the management of stress that really it comes down to three things. The stressors in our life that we can control, that we can action, and that in the grand scheme of things are really important. And our portfolio talks a lot about the control and the action pieces. That if you were to take out a piece of paper and write down all the things that stress you out or cause you stress, or you're working through stress, we need to pay attention to the things on our sheet of paper that we can control and that we can action, and that in the grand scheme of things are important. Anything else on your list, we get to cross off, because that's not where we should be spending our energy. So we want to go with the things that we can control, the things we can manage, action, and what truly is important to us. So for example, right now, COVID-19, really important. We don't have a lot of control that it's happened. There are definitely things we can action. So that's where we would put our energy, in the things that we can action. We can't control that it's happening, but we can control how we behave around it. A couple of other tools, mental fitness exercises. National Defense has come up with 4 that they want the CAF community to be aware of. Huge proponents of meditation. The CAF calls it tactical breathing, combat breathing. The rest of the world calls it abdominal breathing. Really important. If that is something that you would benefit from, that you recognize how easy it is to maybe sit for 3 to 5 minutes, meditate on purpose for the mental health of it. Positive self-talk, making sure we're not that little voice in our brain that is always saying negative things. Being mindful, being situational aware of our surroundings. Grounding, having techniques that truly ground us. Another tool is a perspective shift. So taking a look at, in the grand scheme of things, is this going to matter a year from now? Changing the perspective. Like, for example, going into the holiday season, do we have to gather as a family on the 25th of December, if that's something we typically do? Could we gather on the 25th of June and just put it off? Are we over-identifying with a day, and as a result of COVID, is that causing us so much stress because we're not able to do the things we're accustomed to doing? So an opportunity for us to be a bit resilient, which is also another tool. Learning how to bounce back through some adversity. And right now we're all living through some adverse times. Bonnie mentioned if the dishes are piling up and food is stuck and it's overwhelming, load the dishwasher and run it twice. Heck, run it 3 times, reduce the stress. Yeah, that's a great example. The perspective shift. So many people think, oh my gosh, I've got to load my dishwasher. It's gotta clean. It's only going to get cleaned if I rinse everything off first and then load it. And Bonnie's point is that, you know what, if it's easier, just press the run cycle a second time. Another tool that we're huge proponents of in health promotion is to laugh. We like to laugh in this hallway, and I encourage you to find some time over the holiday season for the mental health of it, to find ways to laugh. Some of the movies that we all shared that we enjoy are really about that, sitting back maybe with the family and having a good laugh just for the health of it. So I encourage you to try something different this holiday season as a way to combat the stress associated with maybe a different celebration. I'll give you an example in my house, although it's a big battle right now. I've come up with some new traditions for our family to try. And so far one of us wants to do them, and the other 3 in my family are fighting back, but that's okay. This time in January, ask me how it went, and hopefully I will have won this fight. But an example would be, I've come up with a whole list of new traditions, and absolute things that we would not normally do. But that is a bit of a perspective shift. Hopefully it will provide some laughs. And it is definitely something different that may stand out as a new tradition next year, but it's going to help get through this season in the absence of all the things that we're used to doing. So the next slide is the application of knowledge. If you wouldn't mind thinking of a way, and maybe even sharing it as we finish up the last slide, maybe thinking of a way that you might look at the holiday season differently for the health of it, for your mental health of all of it. Is there a lifestyle choice you might reflect on? Would you be willing to share your idea with the rest of the group? I just saw Todd's, the laughter. Yes, he's reminding us that in the hallway, we do have something that we do when we need to laugh, and we break out the megaphone. And sorry, everybody, you're getting to hear that sometimes when we're having a tough day, we talk to each other through the megaphone just for the laugh of it. But would you be willing? Yes, Kendra did help with the laughter. She added a barking dog. Things don't need to be perfect. That's great, Brenda. So that's something that is an approach that I think Brenda is going to try with her family, that it doesn't have to be perfect. Melissa mentioned not having to go to all the family and drive to everyone's house. Yeah, what a gift that we just get to stay at home. We can sit back a little bit more without the stress of extra people. Yes, you'll miss them, but we'll take time to relax in otherwise a hectic time. Awesome. So I encourage you to take a look at your lifestyle choices. What a great opportunity, end a calendar year, new calendar year coming, end of a global pandemic. Insight, not there yet. As Todd said, we got to dig our heels in and push through. But when we look at the application of knowledge, there's an opportunity here for us to, yes, be reminded of all the things you probably already know and have heard, but maybe for our mental health, switch your perspective and try something a little bit different that, as Brenda said, doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be different. But it may help positively impact your mental health. The last slide is a reminder of all the resources available to you. Please feel free to lean on the Employee Assistance Program. Bonnie's going to talk about that in a bit. Our CAF Recreation is going to give us some great ideas coming up. Health promotion, we're always here for you. Our fitness and sports staff, amazing resources if you're wanting to ask them a question about physical activity or physical fitness, anything on that topic. And there's tons of websites, apps, governing bodies out there. And certainly if you really are struggling and you think you need a medical practitioner, reach out to your health practitioner because they are a great resource. Are there any questions for me? I think that's all for me.
Thank you very much,
Great,
Lisa.
Brenda.
Well done. I don't see there being any questions. No, that one wasn't a question. Turn it over, I guess, now with Jackie. Over to you.
Thanks, Todd. And certainly I'm not stressed at all about the holidays. I certainly would like to thank all of our teams, all of our cells participating in the 12 Days of Christmas. What a great opportunity for us to share with others too, all about the holidays. So thanks for playing along, and you can follow us on Facebook, and I have more to say about that in a moment. But first, we're going to have holiday fun. Yes, fun, and we're going to play a game called This or That. And here we go. So, which is your favorite Christmas carol? Would it be Run, Run, Rudolph with Chuck Berry, or Driving Home for Christmas with Chris Rea? So you can throw that in your chat. Are you going old school with Chuck Berry? So be neither of those. Okay, yes, Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea. All right, so let's see. Do you like this, Jingle Bell Rock with Bobby Helms, taking it old school, or are you laying over there with Last Christmas by Wham? Oh, yes. How many people agree that Last Christmas by Wham might be the worst Christmas carol ever? But still loving it on Love Actually. All right, we're taking a look at a few more. Old school, Brenda Lee, a classic, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, or Rocking It Out with Madonna and Santa Baby. Good. Oh, Abby guys liking rocking around the Christmas tree? Wow, good. That's a bit shocking. Okay, another one. Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys, or All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. What are we thinking? Oh yeah, here we go, Mariah. Okay. And sorry, yes, Todd, we somehow missed Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer. Shucks. Next year's game, though, you can invite me back. Great, a couple more, folks. Here we go. Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth with Bing Crosby and David Bowie, or Silent Night with Michael Bublé. Oh, All I Want for Christmas, A Little Drummer Boy. I think we've got some faves here, but who couldn't love Michael Bublé? And no, you can't change the artists. Okay, coming up, our last one. Oh, no, one more. So, Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid, or old school classic, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Where are we sitting? This or that? Oh, okay, so a couple liking the Grinch, good. And the last one, Ave Maria with Celine Dion, or the Christmas song given to me by Lisa Rafasi, a favorite, with Nat King Cole. So where are we on this one? Nat King Cole, oh, wonderful. Thank you very much for playing along. And of course, we wish you all a fabulous holiday, a wonderful Christmas, and some good time away. A few little moments of communication update. It wouldn't be the same if I didn't pass along a few little things. A reminder to follow us on PSP CFB Trenton. All the cells right now are participating in the 12 days of Christmas. And those range from, great recipes, from accommodations to financial wellness tips with SISIP. And then we also have PSP cells with Facebook pages you can follow along, like the PSP Recreation page that currently has an amazing Elf on the Shelf program. PSP Health Promotion, giving us wellness tips right now for this holiday season. And PSP Fitness and Sports, providing us with the 12-day challenges in fitness. Keep your CAF connection up to date. It is our #1 tool for delivering content to our military families and to our military community. And if you need training, do send me an email. Our newsletter will return in the new year as the daily CFMWS moves away from its sort of daily postings and moves perhaps to a more weekly or monthly. We don't want to litter your mailbox with too much information, but Facebook certainly does pass along some of the details too. A reminder as you leave on holidays this year to set your out-of-office alerts, both in email and phone, and Senior Manager Todd Peddle will be following up with an email on that. So have a wonderful holiday. All the best for the new year. Over to you, Todd.
Thank you very much, Jackie. The next roundup is going to be holiday fun and family and friends with Caitlin. Kate.
Hey guys, let me see if I can get the screen shared for you. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to build on Lisa's presentation and try to help you find some ways to stay in the green and healthy zone over the holidays. So we're asking you what you do for fun. And recreation is any activity that you do for fun outside of work and outside of household and sort of adult responsibilities. And we're going to try to give you some ideas if you don't already have some ideas of what you do for fun. So for the purpose of this presentation, we're going to categorize them into 4 categories: physical, arts, cultural, service, and social. And Lisa already touched on this, but for adults under the Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology guidelines, you're encouraged to get 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic activity each week in bouts of 10 minutes or more. And then some strength training if you can, and of course, the more activity you get, the better. On that, we're going to switch over to activities that you can do for physical activity indoors. Since gyms and stuff are closed right now, there's still lots of options for you to stay active. The one caveat we'll say before we get started is that if you haven't been active or you're changing up your routine drastically, make sure you speak to your doctor beforehand. The first shout out we'll give is for Facebook. The PSP Fitness Cell has lots of exercises or workouts on their Facebook page that, of course, are designed for the Canadian Forces environment, but can be done by anybody and for free. There's lots of free apps out there. I just listed the one under the Nike Training Club, which has workouts, and you can do social interactions for keeping up with other people to try to keep you in line. If you're old enough, you might remember Hal and Joanne, and Participation does still exist. They have a website that also has workouts, and they do contests every once in a while for tracking your physical fitness. And then YouTube. So although virtual programming is new for all of us, as we switched for the COVID restrictions, there's lots of people who that's their career and have millions or tens of millions of followers. So I've listed a few that are well known on there. All different types of workouts, different types of equipment that you might need. If you need low impact, if you need it to be quiet, if you need it to be short, like a 5 to 10 minute workout. And then that 305 Fitness, the very last point, that's just a really good laugh. If you can keep up with that, it's actually listed as a dance party in the living room. And if you can keep up with it, you should definitely be doing it. If indoors isn't your thing, and we would encourage you to get outside and get some fresh air, there's tons of stuff locally that you can do outside, especially through the winter time. So we are very lucky that during COVID, we actually are in a non-urban area where we have lots of space away from one another. And we can enjoy the outdoors. There are 31 Ontario provincial parks that are staying open during the winter with a variety of different exercises. So best to go over to Parks Ontario website and check out which parks have different activities. Some have rentals for things like skis and snowshoes. Some even have trails that they turn into skating rinks. QuinnyWest.ca also lists all of the trails in the area, and there's tons, and lots of municipalities are actually doing more to maintain outdoor spaces this winter to get people outside. If you're headed to the county, there's the Millennium Trail. To the north, there's a Trans-Canada Trail. You can do parts of that. To the east, the Cataraqui Trail System. And then to the west, if you haven't been over to the Northumberland Trail System, there's great trails there. Keep in mind, a lot of those are multi-use trails. So there's anything from horseback riding to snowmobiling to hiking on those trails. So just be mindful of that. If hiking and winter camping and stuff isn't your thing, but you want to give a shot at skiing or oh my God. Skiing, let's just stick with skiing. Battawa Ski Hill is open and close by. If you're going further away and you're headed towards, Blue Mountain or Quebec for that kind of activity, just remember that you're closer to cities and more people, so just be mindful and careful. Unfortunately, our arena remains closed to the public, but there is free skating this season at the Trenton and Frankfurt arenas. And Battawa has added outdoor rinks, so there's even more outdoor space, which is probably the safest option. If you're moving away from physical activity or you feel like you're getting enough of that, arts and cultural is our next activity slide. I can't leave out seasonal light shows. There's tons in the area, from Frankfurt Tourist Park to Fraser Park to the Belleville Festival of Lights, which is drive-through, so you can actually go online and print out the map. Christmas at the Pier, and then there's a local one in Trenton at a house that's well decorated with music that you listen to over your car radio, so stay in your car, and donations for that go to, I believe, Children's Wish Foundation. There's also lots of online and virtual options, and you may have noticed from when we first closed in the spring, there's maybe not quite as much now as there was then, and that's a lot to do with businesses and organizations opening back up, so they're not doing as much virtual content, but you can still find some for things like the ROM. There's lots of resources, especially for kids and families, at the Toronto Zoo site. If you're planning your next trip well into 2021, there's lots of travel blogs and tours that you can check out online. So just Google it, or Facebook has tons of virtual tour events that you can join. And now might be a great time to do those how-to projects. So whether it's arts and crafts, knitting, woodworking, do-it-yourself projects at home, you can just literally search anything on YouTube for those. Libraries have stayed open, even curbside pickups during COVID, and most of them have moved to ebooks. So if you do have an e-reader, you can actually sign out books virtually. Lots of stores obviously staying open and delivering. Online book clubs are plentiful right now. And if religious stuff is something that interests you, many institutions stayed open. Restricted numbers are generally in place, and they've also moved to virtual content or drive-in. So you can check those out. Service activities are volunteer based. So although lots of volunteer activities maybe aren't functioning right now, organizations aren't allowing volunteers in because of COVID, that doesn't mean that you can't do stuff in your community to help out. So remember that there are still vulnerable people in your community that maybe need their groceries picked up, or maybe they're older or have difficulty shoveling snow or bad weather. You could get out and walk a pet for them. Or even for organizations that mean a great deal to you. Many charities haven't been able to raise funds like they normally do because a lot of their activities are limited due to COVID, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't do stuff within your community to raise funds for organizations that mean a great deal to you. And finally, even before COVID, the Canadian Mental Health Association was, brought great attention to the fact that we were in a very disconnected environment because of, ironically, electronics, and COVID has obviously pushed us to having to do more stuff online and distance. So that doesn't mean that we have to be distant necessarily from each other. If you are going to see people outside of your household, especially over the holidays, outdoor distance activities are the safest bet. If you're not completely sick of computers and phones and text, call or video chats. You can even have dinner with friends or family that are outside of your household by setting up a video. Plan a movie night. So when Prime or Netflix releases a movie, maybe don't watch it right away. Save it for a Friday night to make it really feel like an end of week treat. Set up a game night. Plan a special meal. So whether that's trying a new recipe, exchanging food or baked goods with friends or neighbors or family outside of your home. Or try a takeout night. So plan a night where you go out of your way to pick up takeout from a restaurant that you don't get to normally. Sending a surprise to somebody. So as much as it's great to receive our own Amazon packages, imagine how much better it is when you didn't have to plan it or purchase it. So it doesn't have to be expensive. You could send a letter to somebody. You could drop off or send a care package. Again, something inexpensive that just surprises someone you care about that you can't as much as you would like right now. And as Lisa said, take time for yourself. So whether that's yoga or meditation or mindfulness, there's tons of resources online, or reaching out to the health promotion section for ideas to be able to make sure that you can also disconnect in a healthy way. And during a time where it's very easy to be negative, try to practice some gratefulness. We have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to look forward to. So that's it for me, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you very much, Kate. That's awesome. Turn it over to CISO.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Ashley Porlier, and I'm a new addition to the CISIP financial team. I'll be attempting to share my screen with you, so hopefully this works. So let's see here.
We can see it.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you see it like very large now? Is this good for you?
Yep, it's good.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So my colleague, Denise Reed, was present for the morning session, and she's obviously our financial counselor, and I'm very pleased to be able to present the afternoon session on behalf of CISIP here. I joined the team actually a couple months ago. I'm very delighted to join the CFMWS family. So in regards to CISIP here, we often refer, sorry, I have to go back. Sorry about that there. So we often refer to our 4 dimensions of well-being, and CISIP supports our members in the financial realm. And certainly we are strong believers in the value of financial wellness, because it also really gives a certain amount of social and mental benefits as well to a family when they have all of their kind of financial ducks in a row, so to speak, and they're able to kind of make their dreams come true, whether that's child's education, saving for a down payment for a home, or even saving for a nice family vacation as well. So for our part, for our professional development contribution, our team, we compiled 12 days of Christmas with financial tips. You may have seen some of these already if you're following the PSP Facebook page. So the first one is making a list and sticking to it. So obviously our friends and family are expected to come first here, and don't feel bad about having to trim that list back a little bit, because obviously it's a very, very strange year. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's very important that we're really only buying for those that are not going to make our Christmas shopping shopping list too high for sure. And so number 2, shop by yourself. It's actually quite easy for other people to spend your money. So I'm not sure if you've been out shopping with a friend or family member, but sometimes they can encourage you to pick up something that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise chosen. So make sure if you shop by yourself, that you can do that without having some external forces perhaps whispering in your ear. For the third one, I'm using psychology while Christmas shopping by using a price anchor. So in my case, my educational background is in psychology, and we certainly see in sales, there's a lot of psychological tricks that people will use in order to encourage people to purchase more. There's an entire branch of psychology called sales psychology and behavioral finance. So what I would suggest is actually using a special trick called mental anchoring. So this means before you go shopping, decide on a price, maybe $25 for your sister Chantal, let's call it. And research shows that if you make that decision beforehand, you're more likely to stick to it than if you had not considered a price anchor beforehand. So number 4, avoid shopping on an empty stomach. I'm not sure about yourselves, but certainly if I go shopping on an empty stomach, I come home with all kinds of junk food. So this effect is also seen when we're doing our holiday shopping, that if you're tired or frustrated or hungry, we actually see that people do make more impulsive and in a way poorer decisions when it comes to spending their Christmas dollars. So as much as possible, make sure that you have something to eat, or maybe even just grab a granola bar and stick it in your purse or have something before you go, and you'll find that you might make some better choices. For number 5, pick 2 to 3 activities that bring you happiness. So the reason why we've brought this forward is because this gives us a chance to decide in advance the things that really make us happy, and we can also allot a certain amount of money to agree to spend on those things. It also allows us to identify certain types of expenses that are not actually bringing us happiness. And we certainly would encourage that if there are extra expenses that you aren't feeling real joy from, feel free to trim those non-happiness expenses, so that way you can spend the money on things that make most sense to you. For number 6, asking ourselves if a certain purchase is going to give short-term happiness and long-term financial worry. So certainly we all love our families, and sometimes we want to splurge on a lovely gift for them. Although the short-term surprise of, when they maybe get a really lovely gift, that might be nice for us to see. Ultimately, that may not outweigh the long-term concern that you may have if you've overspent, especially when those bills start coming back in January. So as much as possible, you want to avoid with having overspent on Christmas. For number 7, avoid using credit if at all possible. So originally, our tip here was to try to use cash, because there's research showing that when you use cash, you actually spend a little bit less. However, in these days of COVID, a lot of places that otherwise would accept cash are not actually accepting cash. Therefore, one of the things that we're recommending is that if people can't use cash, that they try to use their debit card to make sure that they're not overspent, to make sure that that those credit card bills aren't really substantial come January. Number 8, you're downloading a budget app. You can certainly do this, and we always recommend people be aware of where their money is going. There are a couple of really good ones out there if you're tech savvy. We do have one called You Need a Budget. There's also a budget app called Mint. So all of those can help you stay on track and also to track what you're spending. As well, if you're someone who is not very interested in cellular apps, what you can do is you can always just use an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of things, or even just the plain old pen and paper. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you have a sense of where your dollars are going. And for number 9, very similarly, as we're going to have a little bit of extra time for holidays, please take advantage of that time to work on a personal budget. So this usually can be done quite quickly, and it does need to be revisited several times per year or as your life changes. For example, if your partner has a job change, or if you find out that you're going to be welcoming a baby in the next several months, then absolutely those are the best times to start getting ahead of your budget before those changes happen as much as possible. For number 10, create family challenges and track them. So we were suggesting as well that people could have some really interesting challenges for their families that can kind of keep them interested as the downtime happens. So if you can maybe challenge your children, if you have them, to put part of their allowance in a sharing jar, or if you can challenge your family members to build their own snowman, and the best one gets extra whipped cream on their hot chocolate. Sometimes there, it doesn't need to be a lot of planning going into these, but just these small challenges can really help to keep everybody on track. So in addition, for number 11, it's important to note that discounts don't tell the entire story. So the base price for the same item can be substantially different based on which store you're at. So don't be fooled by large discounts, because a toy that's on sale for 40% in one store might actually cost more than the same item from a different store where it's only 30%. So if you're looking at dollars, if you're looking at the prices for items, consider them in dollars and not in discounts. And for the final tip here, we have that obviously Christmas is the season to give, not to buy. So try to avoid spending on yourself for this holiday season. And just like Caitlin also mentioned, if it is in your budget, please consider donating to your favorite charities, because we do see that at COVID that a lot of charities are under a lot of extra pressure financially. So I'm not sure if anybody would have any questions for me, but that would be mostly it for me.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Great presentation, Ashley. Turning it over now to, is it Bonnie with HR?
I think so. Okay, so let me load it. And so mine's on a wellness check. And we would like to remind you that our Employee and Family Assistance Program is available to all staff. The link is provided in the employee self-serve, or you can contact Chappelle directly at the 1-800 number provided. Please reach out to HR if you have any questions. According to Chappelle, life happens, so let us help. And the links are here again. They provide expert assistance and counseling. It's available to you and your family members. Confidential support. We as an employer will never know that you called. We just get stats that will tell us, for example, that maybe 50 people in the month of December called, but they won't tell us. We will never know who called. There's no cost to use this service, and it's available 24/7. So please use it. And they help with issues like family and parenting and issues with teens, nutrition questions, things to do with elder care, drugs, alcohol, gambling, smoking, marriage or divorce stress, workplace challenges, financial concerns, relationship issues, and depression, grief, stress. These are just to name a few. Honestly, even if you're moving into a new area and you want to know about that area, you can call them and they'll send you a whole package. They're amazing. For further information, don't forget to give either myself or Samir a call, and we will help you out. Thank you.
I believe there's some final remarks from Lisa. Thanks, Bonnie.
Just a couple of reminders, as mentioned with the resources. Just reaching out to anybody that, if in fact you are needing to connect with someone this holiday season, we do have available a Helpers in the Community list of all the different resources that are available to you, and just making sure that you know your colleagues are here for you, even though we're going into a shutdown of some of our normal programs over a 2-week period. We do have lots of resources to share should you need them. And then is it okay, Todd, if I just keep going on about the health and safety piece?
Yes, go on, Lisa, please.
Okay. So at this time, I just wanted to recognize the committee of the staff of the Non-Public Funds Health and Safety Committee. We had, as of March 13th, we were mandated to take our monthly meeting of approximately 15 people, and we had to turn that into a weekly meeting. So since that third week of March, we've been meeting every single Tuesday. We were allowed to slow that down to a bi-weekly meeting, but kudos to everybody who stepped up, and some of you are on the line. If you wouldn't mind just adding your name to the chat and the department in which you work, so using this as an opportunity to make sure that your peers know that you're one of their reps. But on behalf of PSP headquarters, thank you to the Health and Safety Committee for your great work these past 8-9 months. We were having to decipher directives, mandates, guidelines, zones, you name it, for safe business resumption. And you'll see there some of your colleagues' names are popping up in the chat. So thank you for that, and that's all for me.
And I think the last formal presentation, stand corrected if I'm wrong, is from HR for A Better You. Okay. You're looking for a volume.
I'm so sorry. There we go.
What?
Can you see that?
All
Yes,
good.
perfect.
Okay, so yes, the discussion was about A Better You, and with the new year right around the corner, now's the time to set some goals for 2021 and whether the path to your goals look like this or like this. Setting goals is the first step to turning the invisible into the visible. Should your goals include taking a course, don't forget about our tuition assistance program, the TAP. You'll hear people talk about that. And it's available to eligible employees to apply for financial assistance for eligible courses. And please feel free to contact HR for more information. That's it for me.
That's it. Okay. Before I just do final closing remarks, I'll just open it up the floor for any general comments or questions from anyone. No, either we did a fantastic job or we lulled everyone to sleep. Everybody's chomping at the bit to get out the door. So I don't want to be in the way of anybody going home and doing their routine of how they switch from work mode to public or private mode. So with that, I'd just like to wish everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Take time between yourselves to get a good, much deserved rest. Spend time with your family. Be safe. And I also want to make a personal commitment that I will go around from section to section and try to visit as many of you as I can over the next upcoming week. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Thanks for your participation.
Thank you, Todd, and all the team. Great job. Thanks.